Often in temples, they read the financial reports to the master. We're not only a guest in our home, we're a guest in this body. I mean, in case you haven't noticed, we we were put into this body without our permission, and we're going to be kicked out without our permission, sometimes without even notice. So, uh, as far as on a practical external level, the idea of Vanaprasth, I mean, and this isn't going to be specifically Vanaprasth for everybody, but would be that you turn your home over to your grown-up children. So, in a traditional society, you're you get married when you're young and your children are grown up by the time you're 50. Your children are adults and they're married and they have their own families and they get the home. And you travel either the couples go separately or they travel together to holy places. And when they come to the home is being run by their kid and their kid's spouse, and they're a guest in their home. So, I mean, off and on, I've been in that kind of a situation. I lived with my oldest son and his wife all together in my um, 30 years of Vanaprastha life. 8 of those years, I was a guest in my son's home. So uh, I had
Thank,
my own little
thank you.
space, but I was a guest in their home. So like that. Someone else is running the home. The Vanaprastha is going to a holy place. They've given the property to their kids and they come back and they stay for some time and then they go and they travel. That's one, there's many ways of being a Vanaprastha, but that's one way. Is that all right?
Yes, thank you very much. That is very satisfying. Isaiah, 10 years from now, Karen will turn over the home to you, Isaiah. Okay, so good thing you're in class. You're prepared. Okay, Urmila Devi Dasi, the floor is yours. Let's do it. Hare Krishna. 10, 15 minutes for questions before 8 o'clock.
Okay. So today is March 6, 2026 at the Bhakti Center, and we're going to be reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, 5th chapter. Narada concludes his teachings to Vasudeva, text 2. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatyade Satarane Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Panchakalpachubhascha Kripasindhavibhacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhi Namo Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Shri Chamasa Uvacha Mukhya Baburupa Bebya Purushasya Sramai Saha Chatvaro Jaggire Varna Gunar Vipradaya Pritak. Word for word. Shri Chamasaha Uvacha. Shri Chamasaha said, Mukhya, face, Bahu, arms, Uru, thighs, Padebhyaha, from the feet, Purushasya, of the Supreme Lord, Ashramai, the 4 spiritual orders, Saha, with, Chadvadaha, 4, Jagnire, were born, Varnaha, the social orders, Gunai, by the modes of nature, Vipra Adayaha, headed by the Brahmanas, Pritak, various. BBT translation. Sri Chamasa said, each of the four social orders headed by the Brahmanas were born through different combinations of the modes of nature, from the face, arms, thighs, and feet of the Supreme Lord in his universal form. Thus, the four spiritual orders were also generated. BBT purport. Those who are not spontaneously attracted to the devotional service of the Lord can be gradually purified by observing the Varnashram system of four social orders and four spiritual orders. According to Sridhar Swami, the Brahmanas are born of the mode of goodness, the Kshatriyas of a combination of goodness and passion, the Vaishyas of a combination of passion and ignorance, and the Shudras of the mode of ignorance. Just as the four social orders are born from the face, arms, thighs, and feet of the Lord's universal form, similarly, the brahmacharis are generated from the heart of the Lord, the householder orders from his loins, and the vanaprastha from his chest, and the sannyas order from his head. A similar verse is found in the Rik Samhita 8:4-19, as well as the Sukla Yajurveda 34:11 and the Atharva Veda 1966. Brahmano swamukham asid bahu rajam ya kritaha urutad asyad yad vaishya pabhyam shudro jayataha. This is the Purusha Shukta, by the way. The Brahmana appeared as his face, the king as his arms, the Vaishya as his thighs, and the Shudra was born from his feet. It is understood that pure devotional service to the Lord has already been described by two of the Yogendras, Urmila and Avirhotra. Chamasa Muni now describes the system of Varnashram Dharma because the system is meant to gradually purify those who are inimical to the Supreme Lord, bringing them back to their constitutional position of love of Godhead. Similarly, the Virat Rupa, or universal form of the Lord, is an imaginary form meant to help the gross materialists gradually understand the position of the personality of Godhead. Since the foolish materialist cannot understand anything beyond matter, he is encouraged to see the entire universe as a personal form of the Supreme Lord's body. The impersonal conception of formlessness is a mere negation of temporary material variety without any concept of the Lord's spiritual potency. The impersonal view is another kind of material speculative conception. The Supreme Lord is full of spiritual potencies under the principal headings Ladini, or unlimited bliss, Sandini, or eternal existence, and Samvit, or omniscience. It is understood from this verse that the Varnashram Dharma system, generated from the universal form of the Lord, is the program offered by the Lord to engage the conditioned souls in a complete social and religious system that gradually brings them back home, back to Godhead. Shri Chamasa Uvacha Mukhya Bab Urupa Bebya Purushasya Shramai Saha Chat Varo Jagmire Varna Gunair Vipra Daya Pratak. Sri Chamasa said each of the four social orders headed by the Brahmanas was born through different combinations of the modes of nature, from the face, arms, thighs, and feet of the Supreme Lord in his universal form. Thus, the four spiritual orders were also generated. So this is about the socio-economic system, that helps us to attain spirituality. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita and 3:10, that one should act in such a way to live happily and also attain liberation. So Varnashram is about having people work and live in a way that is in harmony with their nature and in harmony with their desires. So it's about a general socioeconomic system, but primarily it's about individual actions. So this is what we all want, isn't it? We want to live happily in this world and also attain liberation. That's what we want. So that's what Varnashram is about. And yes, it is a fact that if one is fully Krishna conscious, they don't need to engage in any of the aspects of Varnashram, but that would mean that they were completely outside of society. So therefore, even those, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Even those who are fully liberated and who have no reason to work, they also have no reason to give up work in the world, and they work to set an example and for service. Now, when we learn about Varnashram properly, we see that it solves many of the problems of the world. And that's true also for a society of devotees. And when we understand Varnashram properly, then it gives us a foundation, as the main point in this today's purport was that properly understood Varnashram gives us a foundation for bhakti. It gives us a foundation for enlightenment. So we're going to look at Varna Dharma, Ashram Dharma, and Sanatan Dharma. So let's look first at Varna Dharma. So what is the definition of Varna Dharma? Varna means choice. It can also mean color. What is your, and what you do for your occupation, how you maintain yourself, how you maintain yourself. So here we have the word gunai, qualities, which is explained here in relation to the modes of nature. Now, I find devotees grossly misunderstand the relationship of Varna to the modes of nature, that they'll think, well, if I'm doing Shudra work, that must mean I'm in Tamagun. And if I come to Sattvagun, then I'll start doing Brahminical work. That is not a fact. That is not a fact. First of all, Lord Brahma, who's in charge of the mode of passion, he's a great devotee of the Lord, and he's engaged in service of the Lord. And Lord Shiva, who's in control of Tamagun, he's the greatest devotee of the Lord and engaged in the service of the Lord. So the modes of nature, when seen as Krishna and part of the universal form, when we're not being controlled by them, we don't have to give up the work that may be associated with them. Also, Krishna tells Arjuna in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna, get above all these modes of nature. The Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ishopanishad, all of the Shastra is saying, get above even Sattvagun. Don't have anything to do with these gunas that are all just different flavors and degrees of selfishness. But we have a particular body, and this particular body was formed by different modes of nature. And according to the particular body and mind we have, then that's how we need to work. So the comparison is given to the different parts of the universal body of the Lord. The Shudras are the feet of the Lord, but we're worshiping the Lord's feet. And it is stated so nicely in the second and third cantos. In the second canto, how the Shudras are especially under the protection of the lotus feet of the Lord. And in the third canto, how the Shudras have this beautiful mood of service that doesn't naturally exist in the other Varnas. So in your body, do you think of your feet as less important than your hands? I mean, really, right? We can say, oh, well, you can live without your legs, but that's pretty hard. People who don't have legs, born without legs, or people who have their legs amputated, or they have to have something that substitutes for legs. They have to have, some sort of prosthesis or a wheelchair or crutches, or else someone else has to do the running around for them. You're not going to say, yeah, I don't need my legs, cut them off. Or, to say your stomach, the Vaishyas are the stomach of the universal body. It's kind of hard to live without your stomach. I mean, people do live without a functioning stomach, without functioning intestines. But it's not, we're not going to say, hey, yeah, let me get a feeding tube. Let me get an ostomy bag. Yeah. I don't need that part of my body. So, and you can't live with just a head. You can't say, well, everybody should just be brahmanas. Floating heads they're not going to be, it's not going to be a living social body. So whatever desires, why do we have a particular nature for one of the varnas? It's due to our activities in our previous lives, our association with the modes in our previous lives, our desires in our previous lives, and the service that the Lord wants us to do. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita that we should think that our work has been given to us by Rishikesh, the master of the senses. So whatever work we're meant to do, whether we're meant to provide all the function and beauty in society as a Shudra, whether we're meant to expand the wealth, the food, the all the raw materials for wealth as a Vaishya, whether we're meant to protect people and provide for people like a societal parent as a Kshatriya, whether we're meant to give wisdom and guidance and education and healing as a Brahmana. This is different services given to us by the Lord according to our desires and according to our nature. And all of these activities should be done as yajna. Again, Bhagavad Gita 3:10, that Krishna has supplied yajna for living happily and attain liberation. I'm here at the Lord's lotus feet as my yajna, as my connection with the Lord. I'm here as the Lord's arms, as my connection with the Lord. What service can I do for the Lord? How can I serve society? Varna Dharma is not just how you make your own money, but how you make your own money in service to society for the glory of God. And when everyone does their part properly in this mood, then there'll be peace and prosperity, a phrase that Prabhupada used 195 times and many, many, many more times in its different iterations, that we wanted peace and prosperity. Of course, in order to do that, not only do you have to be properly situated in your Varna, you have to give in charity, your work has to be honest, your work has to be of value. You need some expertise in your specific Dharma, and you need to take care of the Dharma of that particular Varna. Each Varna has its own Dharma. Each Varna is in the mood of service. The essence of evil, the essence of evil is wanting to enjoy at the cost of others. Wanting to enjoy at the cost of others. What is a criminal? A criminal that says, oh, your money is actually my money. I can take your money by force or by manipulation because I'm the one meant to enjoy it, right? Your body is my body. I can rape you by force or intoxication. Right? I can take what belongs to you. I can kill you. I can take your body for my satisfaction. Of course, that's the essence of meat eating also, that I'm going to take the life force away from some other being for my own satisfaction. And the essence of Dharma is exactly the opposite, that I'm going to give myself for others. I'm going to give myself for others. Now, if we just do that materially, we're not going to be satisfied. But if I give myself for Krishna, who himself is giving himself to everyone, Krishna as the universal form is giving himself to everyone. If I take that same mood that I am giving to the universal body and thus working for the benefit of all living beings, and I work for the benefit of all living beings in a particular way according to my Varna. Like the Vaishya is supposed to amass a lot of wealth. Why? Because they have to distribute that wealth to society. They can't be satisfied with just a small amount of money because then everybody will starve. The Brahmin is supposed to amass a lot of knowledge. Why? So they can distribute it to society. The Kshatriyas are supposed to amass a lot of understanding of law and fairness and justice. Military arts, perhaps, depending on what part of the field they're working in. Why? So they can give people protection, so they can make sure that the laws are fair, make sure that the laws are followed. The Shudras have to amass knowledge in their particular craft or in their particular service. Why? So that society works properly. Then you have the ashrams. So the ashrams are related with the natural biological stages of life. So in human society, when you're young, you're protected by society. You don't have to do anything to earn a living immediately when you're young. And you're being trained how to be a productive member of society. You're trained in the knowledge and skills and values and culture of your society. And you're trained in your livelihood. You're trained in your Varna. So you can be a good contributing member of society. And then once you reach maturity, then you're expected to contribute to society. You're expected to produce good population and honest wealth according to your Varna. And then once you get to middle age and you're body starts slowing down and your desire to do something big in the world, your psychology changes, then you're supposed to retire from work and gradually detach yourself from trying to be some big shot in the world, and focus on going to holy places and purification and turn over things to the next generation. And then at the very end of life, you should actually die before dying and prepare oneself. Of course, that preparation should be going on all through life, to enter the spiritual world. So these biological stages exist in everyone: learning, contributing to society, retirement, and then just preparing for death. The ashram system means you connect each of them with the spirit. That's why they're called ashram, or shelter. So whether or not one goes from student life to family life, or one can skip family life, a small percentage of people, probably less than 5%, can skip family life and either stay a student for a long time or go from student to retired. So you could say there's family life and there is monastic life. Of course, in our Hare Krishna movement, our monastic life is also a very active life. It's more like a Christian apostle rather than like a Christian or Buddhist monk. So our persons in the brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyas orders, the monastic orders, uh, they don't live cloistered lives. They don't live just contemplative lives. They're living active lives where they, especially as vanaprasthas and sannyasis, where they broaden their vision and see the world as family. And each have a value to society. The students have a value to society in that they're being properly prepared. You don't properly prepare kids, they're going to be a problem. The grahastas have a huge value to society. As I say, they're producing good population and honest wealth, which is maintaining the whole society. The vanaprasthas, they're able to give guidance to others. And the sannyasis, they're able to show this model that ultimately we have to let go of this world, even while we're in the other three ashrams, and they can guide the other three ashrams. Again, each of these should be done as a yajna for living happily and attaining liberation. How can I offer my student life to Krishna? How can I offer my work at every moment to Krishna? How can I see my family as Krishna's servants? How can I offer my desire for retirement to Krishna? How can I offer my preparation for death to Krishna? And one also has to have, just like in the Varnas, one has to have some expertise in the Dharma. How do I behave properly as a student? How do I treat my spouse with respect and affection to please Krishna? How do I raise children properly? How can I earn money honestly, according to my Varna? And one should take care of that specific dharma, which is different for each of the ashrams. And of course, all of the ashrams should also give in charity. Our ultimate dharma is our Sanatan Dharma. And if we do our Varna Dharma and our Ashram Dharma without Sanatan Dharma, it's not really of much value. I mean, yeah, we'll get good karma and we'll get a better birth next time and we'll have more material enjoyment, but we won't get really satisfied. Savai pum sam paro dharmo, yato bhaktir hoksuje, ahoituki apritiyata, yad ayatma, supersediti. The only way we're really going to get satisfied is in the spiritual dharma. Yes, we should live happily in this world as part of the universal body, as connected with the Lord. We should have a socio-economic system and an individual system where we can live happily in the world. But that's not the whole point. That's not the whole point. Just like for this class. So we have, it's an online class and we have the proper system, right? We have our electronic device, our phone, our tablet, our computer that we can hook into the class. And we have the proper software. In this case, we're using Zoom. And we have to have proper lighting. Like I have a special light here. And I have a good microphone. And we have all of that. But if that's all we have, what's the value of it? The value is that we're studying the Shastra. The value is the content. So yes, you have a wonderful school building and desks and chairs and pencils and notebooks, But if no learning takes place, what is the point? What is the point? Sanatana Dharma, it's like air. So I give the example, right? Suppose you're at a wonderful party and your friends, your family members that you love, friends that you love are all there, your closest associates that you love being with, and it's a beautiful place, right? Maybe it's a gorgeous room with beautiful artwork and decorations, and there's musicians playing, and the furniture is gorgeous, and the meal is all your favorite food. But if the air is sucked out of the room, you can't enjoy anything. So our main dharma is our relationship with Krishna. And actually, our relationship with Krishna is not dependent on varna or ashram. It doesn't matter what varna you're in. It doesn't matter what ashram you're in. You can still do your Sanatana Dharma. And it doesn't even matter if your material life is a mess. Even somebody in prison for murder can do Sanatana Dharma. Even if your whole life is a mess, you can still surrender to Krishna. Even if you can say, I don't know what's going on. Of course, we should not make our life a mess. We shouldn't use Sanatana Dharma as an excuse to make our life a mess or not get our life together. But even if it is, it doesn't ultimately matter. You could sit on the grass and teach a class. You don't have to have a nice classroom with desks and chairs, and right. You could eat a meal on a train. You don't have to have some nice facility. And our Sanatana Dharma should be two things. It should start out as a discrete, explicit part of our day in our life. Okay, I'm going to take this time of my day. For some people, it's going to be this time of my week, but this time of my day on a regular basis that I'm just going to focus on my Sanatana Dharma. I'm just going to focus on my relationship with the Lord, my relationship with the divine, my relationship with my source, hopefully, ultimately, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. But at least on a regular basis, in every human society, at least once a week, okay, set aside this day, right? There's festivals throughout the year. Set aside this day or these days as this festival where you're not going to go to work. Right? You're not going to do your normal things. You're just going to connect with God. And if possible, at least sometime every day, I'm just going to connect with God. But what's the purpose of that? The purpose of that is so it should gradually start to pervade one's whole life, so that everything becomes Sanatana Dharma. Everything. My driving to work, my working wherever I'm working, at the bank, at the hospital, at the school, at the university, whatever, that there's no difference between my sitting down and chanting Hare Krishna and my doing my work. That should come. It should pervade one's life. And one should get above the modes of nature that cause us to have this particular body. To always identify not in terms of my varna and ashram. Not to say, oh, I'm a Vaishya married man. I'm a soul. I'm a soul who has this wife to take care of, these kids to take care of, this duty to do for the Lord, but I'm a soul. None of these things belong to me. I'm a traveler in this world. Everywhere I see service for the Lord, and everywhere I see myself as servant. Not just for future, but for now. I was talking to one devotee who's in a job where he expects to be just for about a year. This job he sees as like a stepping stone in his career. And I said, well, you can see it as you're working here for future service, but also there's going to be some service moment to moment in your job as well. It's a question of looking for it. So yes, we can neglect Varna and ashram duties, but Sanatana Dharma should never be neglected. No matter what, we should connect with the Lord. Whether our lives are perfectly adjusted or half adjusted or not adjusted. But for most of us, most of the time, being in the proper place by Varna and being in the proper place by ashram greatly facilitates doing Sanatana Dharma. Doing Sanatan Dharma is very difficult without a supportive atmosphere. It's not dependent on it, but it's greatly aided by it. It's not dependent on it, but it's greatly aided by it. And therefore, there's so much in the scripture on this emphasis of being properly situated by Varna and properly situated by ashram. Why? To facilitate Sanatan Dharma, to facilitate who we are as a soul, not for its own sake, not just living happily, but living happily and attaining liberation. So we have 10 minutes for questions, comments, discussions, corrections. Jamuna Jaya, yes. And if the host could do side-by-side spotlight, that would be great.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for class. I had a question about the Vitra Rupa, which I always was just reading some of the second canto in this, and I always get very confused about what it is, what it isn't, was it imaginary. If you could just enlighten just for a few moments to help me out.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
I actually wrote a book on this topic. I wrote a book with the devotee Kamalasita. It was an Amazon bestseller, and it's on Amazon in hard copy, soft copy, and ebook, and I'm trying to get it up there as an audiobook. It's called Krishna Meditations, Seeing the Divine in All Aspects of Life. And basically, the Lord, the universe is also the form of the Lord. You know, all these people who talk about the universe, right? All these like spiritual people, the universe. But the universe is the form of the Lord. Kunti says that you are the personality of the form of the universe to Krishna. So it's not the Lord's eternal spiritual body. It's manifest and unmanifest. Like Krishna is always existing as Krishna, right? But the universe, it's manifest and an unmanifest. But it is his body, it is his form. And it's called Krishna Meditations, is the exact title of the book. And I'm writing this in the chat. Yes. It's available in India from Golden Age Media, and it's available on Amazon. So the idea is that if we understand I'm part of this body of God, and everything that I do should be for the health of the universal body, for the happiness of the universal body. Prabhupada says we're all like cells in the universal body. And it's actually a wonderful meditation. For example, I'm looking out my window at a rose bush, and trees. So the plants and trees are the hairs of the universal body. And we talk about in the book how, sometimes you feel a little bug walking on your arm, right? You can feel the little bug walking on your arm. Not like a bug you don't like, but just a little bug, right? So when we walk among the trees, we can think, oh, I'm like this little creature walking on the body of the Lord. The birds are his artistic sense. When I hear the birds singing, when I see the beauty and the form and the flight of the birds, oh, what an artist my Lord is. The sun and the moon are his eyes. He's always watching me with love and with warmth and with beauty. The clouds are the hair on his head, sometimes dark and sometimes white, like when Krishna's hair gets ashen from the dust raised by the hooves of the cows when he comes back from the pasturing grounds. So we meditate on the different aspects, right? The ocean is his waist. So you who are actually in New York, you get to see the ocean. And the ocean has waves, right? In the Madhurastakam, talking about the waves of the Jamuna is sweet, and the waves in the Jamuna are sweet. And Krishna, the ocean is his waist of the universal form. And we know as Krishna dances, right? He dances, and it forms like, when you dance, it forms like ripples or creases in your waist. So these are the movements of the waves. So everything in the world, Krishna says, I am the sound and ether. Prabhupada says that even if you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, you can understand that all sounds Like right now, I can hear the cars on the highway and the birds chirping, and that all of those sounds are also Krishna. So it's interesting, very interesting, that right after Krishna tells Arjuna in the sixth chapter, Yogi Namapi Sarvesham Madgatana Antaratmana Shradavam Bhajate Yamam Samayukta Tamo Mataha. The greatest yogi is one who always thinks of me. Then right after that in the seventh canto, he's not talking about, dancing with the gopis. What does he say? Rasoham apsukonteya. I'm the taste of water. I'm the light of the sun. I'm the light of the moon. When people would ask Prabhupada how to see Krishna, Prabhupada says, see Krishna is advising that I am the taste of water, I am the light of the sun. Right now, it's, here where I am, it's about almost 8 o'clock in the morning, and we have a sunny day, and the sun is streaming in my window. What shows up here is like a white square here. That's actually the sun coming in my window here, and my whole room is full of light. So it's interesting, this room where I'm in. Maybe I'll actually show you so that's a light, but that is a skylight. And then so I have three lights, but the middle one is a skylight. It's the sun. When I was first moving into this room, before I'd actually moved in, so my granddaughter made the curtains, like show you curtains on the window. See, kind of burgundy curtains. So she had made the curtains, and when she put them up on the windows, it was late in the day, and it took her a long time. But before she was back, and when she came back to where I was staying, she said, "Grandma, I couldn't find the switch to turn off the middle light." And I said, "Well, I don't think there's a switch to turn off the sun." So we don't think about it, but this light's Krishna, that light, the heat and fire. So in so many ways we can meditate on Krishna. Is that all right?
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Yes, thank you so much.
Sure.
Buy that book immediately. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. And I just want to quickly answer this other question in the chat, and then we'll have to end. Explain the difference between being Brahminical, being a Brahmana, and being in the work or field of a Brahmana. So Prabhupada wanted us to be Brahminical in the sense that we follow the four regulative principles: no eating meat, fish, or eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Those are particularly Brahminical principles. So whether we're doing Shudra work, Vaishya work, Kshatriya work, or Brahmin work, we should be following those Brahminical principles. And we should all be Brahmanas in the sense of knowing the Brahman, of knowing the Lord, being connected with the Lord. But the work that we do in this world to maintain ourselves, and the work we do for the mission of the Lord, should be according to our nature. And if everybody did Brahminical work, the society would immediately collapse, because there wouldn't be any food. There wouldn't be any food. There wouldn't be any law and order. There wouldn't be roads. There wouldn't be anything. The Shudras are providing all the pleasures of society. We wouldn't have beautiful gardens. We wouldn't have plumbing. We wouldn't have houses because there'd be no Shudras. If we didn't have Vaishyas, nobody would have anything to eat because nobody would be growing any food. If we didn't have Kshatriyas, we wouldn't be able to lock up the criminals. We wouldn't have laws. It would just be chaos. Nobody would build the roads. So even in our temples, we need people doing all these kinds of work according to their nature, but everybody should know Brahman, and everybody should follow the four principles. So that's a very, very short answer.
So when Prabhupada says, I'm here to create Brahmanas, he meant he's here to create the whole Varnashram system, not just isolated Brahmanas floating in outer space.
Yeah, you're not just going to have a bunch of floating heads. There's one conversation where Prabhupada said, we're trying to build a temple and we don't want just Brahmanas because they'll be useless. They'll just go around chanting Hare Krishna. No, we have to actually build a society. So everybody is needed. Everyone's needed.
I've seen at New Vrindavan back in the day, advanced souls who were very Brahminical, and yet they had qualities, Kshatriya. They could administrate. They were not afraid to lean into hard work for long periods of time under difficult circumstances. Prabhupada also, not just a Brahmana.
Well, be very careful, Prabhu, because you're not supposed to mix the Varnas. You're not supposed to do the work of another Varna.
I disagree.
Well, you're gonna have to disagree.
I got a
with
farm. I got to take care of books, and I got to take care of horse shite.
Well, I would tell you that
I have to defend,
first
and
of
I have to
all,
read the scripture.
if you disagree, you're disagreeing not with me, you're disagreeing with Krishna, who says don't do someone else's work. And my suggestion
if work needs to get done,
is you probably don't understand.
You say I'm a Brahmin, I can't pick up this. There's somebody spilt some trash in front of my door or all along the street. Let the dump truck let trash out. But I'm a Brahmana and I'm supposed to remain.
No, but I mean, you're not doing that 8 hours a day as your livelihood. Everybody should pick up trash if they see trash. But my humble suggestion to you is that perhaps you don't understand the nature of the Varnas, which is very common in our Hare Krishna society, that we don't really understand what the Varnas are. But Shastra is emphatic that we should not do other people's work, that we should only do the work according to our nature. And Krishna says, if you do other people's work, it will be a bhayavaha, it will be a vehicle of fear. Don't do others' work, even if you think you can do it perfectly. And he's very emphatic about that. It's emphatic throughout the scripture. So this is not a disagreement with me. Don't shoot the messenger. Everyone should pick up trash when they see it. Come on.
And
everybody should help serve prasadam. Okay, if you want to know more about that, I would refer you to another book called Career.
Okay, so you're telling me that Ananda Bihari, who simultaneously helps take care of his kids in the morning, hosts this class. This is on a regular basis, hours and hours a day, then goes in and cleans the bathrooms at 8th Avenue and then welcomes customers. And then he also lays out books, Prabhupada's books everywhere. And Adi Purusha has beautiful devotional pictures everywhere. So they're doing something on a regular basis on so many different levels. And they're doing the hard work of helping people carry their luggage up the stairs.
I don't think you understand I'm seriously. If you're willing to be a little open-minded, that Krishna is right. If you're willing to be a little open-minded, that what Krishna says is correct, and that what Krishna is giving us is for our benefit and the benefit of society, when he says just do the work of our nature.
So yay or nay?
If you're willing,
is Ananda Bihari doing the work of other Varnas?
Just wait a minute. You're asking me a question. I'm answering you. I'm asking you to be a little open-minded and consider that perhaps the way you're defining the Varnas, if you're defining the Varnas in a way that contradicts Krishna's instruction, then your definition possibly could be off.
You mean Lord Chaitanya was wrong when he said, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not
No, he's not wrong at all. But that doesn't mean you do other people's work.
You do the work that needs to get done.
No, that is not the instruction of the Lord or the Acharyas. I am not any of these things.
Well, I ain't waiting around for somebody else to do work because they're qualified or not. Work to get done.
I humbly suggest that if you want to understand this more, my humble suggestion, you can go to our website, careerdharma.net. You can take a look at our book, Career Dharma, which is based thoroughly on Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, plus over 400 empiric sources, where we describe the socioeconomic system of the scriptures that will give us all happiness, and where we actually define what do the Varnas mean. It doesn't mean that you never pick up trash. That's not what it means. We're talking about how do you maintain yourself and how do you contribute to the social order.
If a person is self-sufficient,
just please explore it.
They find themselves doing all that work.
I would invite you to try to explore this first.
I'd rather explore cleaning the barn.
And if you explore this first, and first look at, or you can check on my YouTube channel, I have a whole series of classes on what is Varna Dharma, explore it, and then come back, and then we can have a conversation that's not based on, that's based on Vada.
On?
Okay, that we can have a Vada conversation. A Vada conversation is where we are aiming to find truth. So what I would invite you to do, check it out. If you think we're completely wrong, fine.
Well, I think it's a matter of semantics. I think
Yes,
that
it is. It is. It's
and
how you're defining.
a bit of a miscommunication here on my part, but I just want to make it known that I remember lots of people coming with various talents into the movement in the early days, and they were told to drop those various. Some of them were employed artists.
Well, that wasn't what Prabhupada did.
But you remember those days.
But that wasn't what
Get out there.
Prabhupada did.
Yeah.
That wasn't what Prabhupada did, and that wasn't what Prabhupada taught. Prabhupada said it's the duty of the spiritual master to engage people according to their nature and engage people according to their talents. And
Yes,
we had leaders in our movement who didn't follow that
I'm with you.
and told people you just have to do whatever's needed to be done. Never mind if it hurts you, and never mind if it hurts the society. And they hurt so many people.
They sure did.
That's right. And we would really like to return to what Prabhupada wants us to do. And yes, everyone should help serve prasadam, and everyone should clean up after the Sunday feast and pitch in to clean the bathrooms. I clean the bathrooms here. I check and clean the public bathrooms here every single day. So it's not that we can't help out. I mean, just like all of us have to take a shower, it doesn't matter what Varna you're in. But our main work should be according to our nature. What's our main work? And that means understanding the Varnas clearly. We also have a lot of misunderstanding about what is the definition of the Varnas. What does it mean to be a Kshatriya? We think if you're managing anything, then you're a Kshatriya. That's not a fact. If you're managing a business, you're a Vaishya. If you're managing a school, that's a Brahmana. So just being a manager doesn't make you a Kshatriya. To understand what is actually the nature, just that you like to teach scripture, that just makes you a devotee. That doesn't mean you're a Brahmana by occupation.
And what does that mean when Lord Chaitanya says, I'm none of those things? How do we understand that in the context of the discussion?
It means that I always see myself just doing some external thing in this world for Krishna's pleasure. Like we have this devotee, Jeffrey Ackler, who's driving his car. Hi, Jeffrey. And he doesn't think he's the car. But he's got to drive the car the way the car is. What kind of car are you driving, Jeffrey?
Hare Krishna. It's a Subaru.
A Subaru. Okay, you can't drive it as if it was a Tesla. It wouldn't work, right? I don't think it has like an auto drive. Right? You can't do that.
It has Jeffrey.
It has Jeffrey, but doesn't have the auto drive. So you have to know what car I'm in, and you've got to drive your car appropriately, but you never identify with the car. You don't identify with the car. That's it. I have a female body, so I'm going to, incubate children and give birth to them and nurse them, which their father can't do. But I'm not a woman. It's just a body that I happen to have. So, I have a particular body. I have a particular mind. I have a particular nature. Let me use that for Krishna. I can't drive a car like it's a bicycle. I can't drive a boat like it's a plane. I can't drive a skateboard like it's a car. I got to figure out what do I have, and I got to use that for Krishna, but I don't identify with it. I just think, how can I use this psychophysical nature as a servant in service? And gradually, as I do bhakti, I start to wake up to who I really am. As Cheto Darpana Marjanam, as the mirror of my heart becomes cleansed, I start to see I'm not just a Vaishya for Krishna or a Shudra for Krishna, but wow, I'm a cowherd boy, or I'm one of Krishna's cows, or I'm one of Krishna's gopis, or I'm the flower around his neck. And I start meditating on that. And while I'm doing the things in this world for Krishna, I'm actually meditating on that. I'm cleaning the bathrooms, but I'm thinking, oh, I'm actually decorating and cleaning the groves of Vrindavan for Krishna and his devotees. So one goes into a completely different mentality where internally one is meditating on one's eternal spiritual service and externally one is working in the world. And before that happens, at least I am Krishna's servant, and I have a service to do here. And the service I have to do here is going to be according to the machine that I have. I have this machine according to my past desires, according to my past karma, and according to what the Lord wants me to do. The Lord's like, hey, I want someone to be a lawyer and protect people. I want someone to be a farmer and feed people. I want someone to be a plumber and make sure that people have sanitation. And I want someone to be a doctor or a teacher. And so please do this service for me. My dear Arjuna, you please do the service for me of fighting. Arjuna says, oh, this is all material. If I realize that I'm a soul, I should just be able to do anything. Let me just walk away from the battlefield. And Krishna says, no. You realize you're a soul and you do the work according to your nature for me. Is that all right?
Thank you very much, Urmila Devi Dasi, for staying beyond time, place, and circumstances with us. Thank you.
Means I probably missed getting breakfast.
Would you like us to make a phone call?
No, it's okay. I have a stove here and I know how to cook. So
Sweet. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Urmila Devi Dasi.
thank you very, very much. And Bhima, please check it out, careerdharma.net. And we have a book, Career Dharma, which is print, ebook, and audiobook. And careerdharma.net. We have a whole online.
Audiobook's good. That will leave my hands free to do my Sudra work.
Well, there you go. We have an audio book. You know, Jayananda did Shudra work, and we celebrate his disappearance like that of Narottama Das Thakur. So Kolovich Sridhar did Sridhar work, and he was Sudra work, and he was such a dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
What was the devotee that would come and clean after his spiritual master? What was his name?
Oh, that's Narottama Das Thakur. But that wasn't what he was doing 8 hours a day.
Okay, Bhima Prabhu, don't go too far with your with decorating the things that you decorate for Krishna.
Yeah.
And thank you for staying civil, Bhima Prabhu. Thank you. That's one quality that you've mastered.
Showing up.
Well, that's the first part of sincerity, is showing up.
Thank you.
All right,
And what's that painting?
Thank you very much.
I see Krishna holding somebody by the hand. Is that Isaiah? Oh, it's a doggy. It's Whiskey Das. That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
You don't need this wrong.
Okay, Anupam Prabhu has his hand up.
Are we still going?
Yes,
Okay,
we're still going.
I just
All
have
right.
one quick thing. Hare Krishna, Mother Urmila. Nice to see you.
Hi, Krishna.
Well, thank you for the thorough response to that question. I had just a quick one. I know I don't want to make you too late for breakfast, so cut me
Breakfast
off.
is gone, Prabhu. It's gone. It's
Okay.
gone.
You're detached anyway, I guess.
Well, no, I have a stove. I'm not that
Oh,
detached. I have a
Right, of course. So my question is one of, like, Krishna mentions Varna Shankar in the Bhagavad Gita, and my understanding is that almost everybody nowadays is pretty mixed in terms of their Varna. So like me, for example, I really enjoy reading and writing and studying and speaking, but I also really enjoy business, and I enjoy seeing how I can make money too. And in my case, my wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, which of course I love and respect. But the idea of me becoming a teacher, say, then wouldn't necessarily work out so much for that program, especially in New York, where you have to make a considerable amount of money in order for only one person to work and to be able to support a family. And I think of someone like Vaisheshika Prabhu, who I think many people would consider a Brahmana, but in order to support his family and earn a livelihood, then he took up the business of selling water filters and did that for some time, and for long enough to the point where he could, theoretically retire and focus on more Brahminical work. And so I'm just curious, how to reconcile those two things. Is it that
Okay, well,
we're
first of
never
all,
meant
I'd say that as far as your personal situation, we do offer career Dharma consultations to help people understand what is their Varna and how to be properly situated. And on careerdharma.net, you can see we've now certified nearly 100 career Dharma coaches all over the world. I do that kind of consultation, but we also have about 100 people who also do that. So if somebody wants a personal consultation, how can they be best situated so they can maintain themselves according to their nature? We help individuals with that. So I don't want to address your individual situation here because that would be best done on an individual basis. So let's look, is that all right? We'll look at the general
That's
principle.
fine. Yeah, I'm already I think well situated. So I help manage a Krishna conscious bed and breakfast. Nanda Bihari does one, and I do the other one, and I'm very satisfied in that, and supported, and feel very happy. And it allows me a lot of time to do more so-called Brahminical stuff like studying or
Right.
reading.
Now we do have to be careful. Let me try to adjust this one at a time. Okay, so first thing is about mixed varnas. When the Shastra talks about mixed varnas, it talks about by birth. So traditionally, people would marry who were of the same varna, and they knew subtle arts by which they could have children that were also of the same varna. And so you were able to train those children in their livelihood from a young age. Like Krishna and Balaram were taking care of calves before they were 6 years old, right? And the Pandavas were trained how to be politicians and how to be soldiers from the time they were very young. In our case, our parents may not be of the same varna, and we may not be of the same varna of our parents. And so that's some confusion. Can a person have mixed varnas as nature? It's not possible because the dharma of the varnas are mutually exclusive. So the essential dharma of each of the four varnas is contradicted by the dharma of the other varnas. And if you try to do the dharma of more than one varna, you're going to make a mess of it. You're going to make a mess of it. We're talking again about your main livelihood. That's what we're talking about, what you do for your main livelihood. We're not talking about what you do as a hobby. We're not talking about what you do as a very part-time devotional service, but we're talking about the main means that one maintains oneself. If one is doing something that is not one's nature or trying to mix it, then you're going to have catastrophes both for the individual and for society. And when you study this, you'll say, oh my God, this is like 60-70% of what is wrong with the world and what's wrong with our devotee society as well. Like once you get that, once you get what happens when people do work that's not theirs, and we should have a split screen here. He should also be. I can maybe add that myself.
Excuse me, Urmila Prabhujini. Then how do we square Krishna's Sarva Dharma Pravritti,
Okay, let
abandon
me
all the...
finish this first.
Please, let's do one at a time.
One thing I find about this topic, is that we can go on forever. And I'm convinced that the reason for that is that the hunger and the need for this is huge in the world. This is the only topic that I talk about that people are never, they no matter how long the class is, they want to go on and on and on and on and on. So we cannot be mixed varnas. Once you understand the nature of the varnas and you understand the contradictions in them, we have a couple chapters in our book about what happens when you mix varnas. You'll see, oh my God, this is what's wrong with the world. This is one of the biggest reasons why the world is such an absolute mess.
Because people aren't doing their job?
Because people are doing other people's. Can I just finish here?
Yeah, please be
Thanks. Can I
no
just
more interjections, please.
just
Humbly request.
wait your turn. Wait your turn. That we learned that when we were little kids, right? Wait your turn. So that's the first thing. The next thing is to understand, and this would be in a personal consultation, what is your particular nature and whether or not the work you're doing corresponds to your nature. Now, I see a lot of devotees say the kind of things that you've said. Well, what's satisfying to me about this work are the perks. What's satisfying to me about this work is not the work itself, but the fact that I have time for doing a lot of other things that I want to do. It's giving me the money I need to give me the time for other things. But Krishna wants our work itself to be an expression of ourself and wants our work itself to be service. Not just that our work is giving us money and time to do other things. So again, once we see the benefit of this, what happens when we do consultations every time is once a person understands what their nature is, just understands it theoretically, they light up. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in Sattva Gun, all the gates are illuminated by knowledge. And when a person just gets, oh, wow, this is who I am, this is what I should be doing, we see a lightness happening of weight and of brilliance and a happiness that comes. And people who are in their right places have this constant happiness and glow about them. So it's really worth it. I mean, Prabhupada so much, he put so much time of his classes and his purports to talking about Varnashram Dharma. And people think Varnashram Dharma just means having a farm. But Varnashram Dharma means Varna Dharma and Ashram Dharma. It's like, so you're married, right? You have kids?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay, so, but even just that you have a spouse, if you were to try to act like a sannyasi with your wife, it would cause a disturbance.
It would cause a sannyas immediately.
Well, it would be,
I tried that before. It didn't work out for me.
yeah, you would mess, if a sannyasi tries to act like a grihasta, it's a mess. If a grihasta tries to act like a sannyasi, it's a mess. You get neither the benefits of the sannyas ashram nor the benefits of the grihasta ashram. You end up with something that's nowhere. So I know in our Hare Krishna movement, we encourage people, work is just Maya. It's just something you have to do. It's a shame. Oh, well, too bad. It's got to be done. So just do something that makes as much money in a short amount of time as possible, which is a very Tamagun way of thinking, by the way. Just do whatever is easiest to make, as much money in a short amount of time to leave the rest of your time for bhakti. I want to look at your point about that, you love, and this would have to be, again, an individual consultation, but you like business and you like to study. So you like to teach. So there's many ways that this could be resolved. First of all, as devotees, most devotees like to read and study Shastra and to teach Shastra. Jayananda liked to read and teach Shastra. It doesn't matter what Varna you're in. Everybody likes to talk about Krishna, pretty much, in the Hare Krishna movement. That's a general thing for anyone who's a devotee. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a Brahminical occupation. Also, I met one devotee who wants to run businesses that support education. So you can be in one Varna that particularly likes to support another Varna. Just like a person might be a Shudra and they want to be a receptionist or a secretary, but they might really want to be a receptionist in a law office. So they're a Shudra who wants to support government. Or there's the Department of Education in the government. So those are Kshatriyas who really want to support Brahmanas. Or there may be teachers of law or teachers of military science. So Brahmanas who specifically want to support Kshatriyas. There may be business people that particularly want to give their money. They really want to support artisans. So there are Vaishyas who really want to support Shudras. So when a person has an interest in two Varnas, it doesn't mean that their temperament is in two Varnas, because you can't. You would be at a war with yourself. You just can't. The qualities are exclusive. They're mutually exclusive. But you might want to have that. So if you're interested in looking at your individual situation, then we do offer that. You can look at careerdharma.net, find somebody in your area that you could talk to. I also do some consultations, but I can't possibly fulfill all of the needs that exist. Before we go on to anybody else, did I answer all of your questions, or do you have any further questions on this?
Thank you so much. Yeah. The only other thing I think that would help kind of clarify your viewpoint would be, so for example, like Prabhupada, he was a Vaishya, and
Yes.
Bhakti Vinod was a Kshatriya.
Correct.
That's right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. I never
Prabhupada
thought.
talked about himself. He said, I was a businessman. Of course, when Prabhupada started the movement, he was a sannyasi. Sannyasis are supposed to be, they have nothing more to do with Varna. They're not earning a livelihood anymore. They're civilly dead.
Nice. Yeah,
They're just at the level of sannyas, all you're doing is Sanatana Dharma. You're not doing Varna activities. Even a Vanaprastha, we talk about you retire. What do you retire from? You retire from work.
mm. It's cool. Yeah, thank you. It is a new perspective that is fresh, and I'm gonna think about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, if you want to go further, I have a playlist on my YouTube channel, Urmila Devi Dasi, on career Dharma. So you can check that out. I have a whole we have a whole course on this at careerdharma.net. And then we have the book as print ebook and audio. And one of my greatest happinesses is that when people get into this, they see, oh, wow, this makes so much sense. It's applicable. Oh, wow, this is why Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing this so much. This is what Krishna is talking about. And I'm just seeing a resurgence of faith in this varnashram system and something that can really be applied.
Thank you. Yeah, there's so much of an emphasis, right, on becoming a brahmana. You're a brahmana. I want to be a brahmana. But yeah, there's to think, yeah, that Prabhupada himself would be considered a Vaishya Bhaktivinoda Kshatriya.
Yeah, well, Prabhupada said, in my life, I was a businessman.
Yeah.
He didn't say in my life I was a teacher or a scholar, because I wasn't. I mean, as a devotee, he was a scholar. But as a devotee, everybody can be a scholar. That doesn't mean you're a scholar by profession.
Right. And the idea of Brahman initiation, like you said, it means that you've come to a level, or you're striving sincerely to adapt the qualities of,
yes, and then you come to know Brahman. Also, one of the reasons we call it that is that there was a movement in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's time to say that only people born in Brahmin families could do priestly activities. See, what we call Brahminical initiation is actually not. It's not initiation into a Varna. It's Vaishnava Diksha. It's initiation into the Sampradaya mantras. Our key Sampradaya mantra is the Gopal mantra, the sixth of the seven Gayatri mantras, which gives you the right to do priestly activities. That doesn't mean you're doing priestly activities 8 hours a day as your occupation.
Mm.
And Srila Prabhupada, continuing the fact that he was criticized by the caste brahmanas for not only making disciples who weren't from Brahmana families, but they weren't even Indian. So therefore, they were calling Vaishnav Diksha Brahminical initiation because it gives you the right to do priestly activities. The fact of them using this terminology, while it solved the problem of that time, place, and circumstance, then created some difficulty in our mind that we think it's a Varna thing, which it isn't. And Prabhupada uses the word Brahmana to mean someone born in a Brahmin family, somebody who's Brahmin by Varna, and someone who knows Brahman and is a Vaishnava. Which then definitely one has to kind of untangle these things to get to what is a Brahmana by Varna, which is something very different. That's someone who's a doctor, not a surgeon, but a doctor, a teacher, a priest, an astrologer, Prabhupada would say, scientist, researcher, as their occupation, counselor, therapist, that's their occupation.
Nice, thank you. And I would assume that once you purify your heart to an extent, then, like it says in Upadeshamrita, you actually develop a taste for things that may be defined as Brahminical, say like hearing the scripture and chanting verses, and learning more about.
Rupa Goswami says that each of the varnas and ashrams has some elements that are also just bhakti.
Mm.
Like the Shudras have this mood as described in the third canto. They're the only ones who have a mood of service. The other three don't. This idea of I want to serve customers and clients. So this idea, I paint a picture that hangs in someone else's house. I never see the original of my painting again. I cook food that someone else eats. I might not even eat it. Right? That kind of mood doesn't exist in the other three varnas. And that mood, Prabhupada talks about in the third canto, all the other varnas have to develop that mood for Krishna. That's the part of bhakti that's in the Shudra Varna. The part of bhakti that's in the Vaishya Varna is I'm serving Bhumi Devi, serving Lakshmi Devi. And how do we please Krishna? Through Srimati Radharani. It's my service to Lakshmi. I'm bringing Lakshmi to Narayan. I'm bringing Bhumi Devi to Lord Varaha. I'm uniting the Lord and his energy of pleasure. And in that way, that meditation is part of bhakti. For the Kshatriyas, it's like, well, Krishna usually comes as a Kshatriya. I'm protecting his people. And interesting, Krishna says, Evam param prapto, evam rajasayo vidu, that Krishna generally gave the parampara to the Kshatriyas, not to the Brahmanas. Why? Because it's the Kshatriyas who have to make sure that people are trained materially and spiritually. It's the Kshatriyas who make sure that everyone's employed and everyone's employed in their proper varna. It's the Kshatriyas who make sure that the Brahmanas are protected and maintained so that they can guide the society. And they're acting, you know, if Krishna's the temple president, the Kshatriyas are the temple commander. And they're seeing, you know, I'm the one taking care of society. I'm the social worker that makes sure that the abused and abandoned children are cared for, so that they'll be taken care of for the glory of Krishna. And those who do Brahminical work, they're saying, I'm giving people the wisdom and the guidance of the Lord, whether it's through Ayurveda or through astrology or through deity worship or through teaching mathematics. I'm giving people Krishna's wisdom and guidance. I'm acting as the mouth of the Lord. So all of them have a connection with bhakti, and you find the bhakti in your work. You don't see, well, this is my work and this is bhakti. Okay, we start out like that, yeah, but it shouldn't stay like that.
It's great, thank you. It is a nice new perspective that you don't hear, and but the more you think about it, the more you see the consistencies in Prabhupada's books and in the teachings of the acharyas that it seems to check out. So thanks.
Yeah, you just see how, oh my goodness, it all makes sense and it all fits together. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for staying over time. Appreciate
Yeah, sure. As I say, I do have a stove, so.
Thank you very much, Urmila Devi Dasi.
And we had that one other question about Sarvadharma and Parityāja, right?
Yes.
I'll take that one, and then I think we should stop. So Sarvadharma and Parityāja, interesting. What does Krishna tell Arjuna? Get up and fight. Yes? After Sarvadharma and Parityāja, does Arjuna not fight? I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, you are 100% correct. He did what Krishna has asked him to do and how he was trained and who he was constitutionally. But he also dressed like a eunuch. He had to dress like a eunuch.
That was for a year, for an emergency. The Shastra does allow that in emergencies, anybody can do anything.
Bhima, in an emergency, it's okay.
This is Kali Yuga. Every day is an emergency.
No. Then you're going to have to throw out all of Prabhupada's purports and lectures where he says to establish.
Get your guns, boys.
Yeah, then just throw out, you know, every word in Prabhupada's purports and lectures where he talks about that he wants us to establish Varnashram because it's Kali Yuga. I'm going to figure that Prabhupada, he said we couldn't do it perfectly, but we're going to be able to do it to a large extent. And yes, in an emergency, when there's a brief temporary emergency, anybody can do anything. And so for that 1 year, the Pandavas, you know, Yudhisthira was acting as a Brahmana, and the other four were acting as Shudras for a year. But you saw that their nature didn't really go away, because when Virat was attacked, Arjuna went and defended it. That Bhima dealt with what was his name? Kichak, who was attacking Draupadi. So they still had their nature, but externally they were acting differently in an emergency. When they left the house of Lak, they were pretending to be Brahmanas in an emergency, but again, their Kshatriya nature manifested itself in the killing of Baka and so forth. So brief emergencies, yes. If we think that life is a continuous emergency, then that is gross mismanagement. So if
So
our
I go home, my wife asked me to do the dishes, that I can claim
everybody's
that's
got
not
to
my
do the dishes unless you have a
Varna.
servant. No, that's not
Oh,
Varna.
no, I have to
That's
go out
ashram.
and
No,
get
that's
the
ashram.
food.
That's ashram duty. Washing the dishes in your house is not Varna duties. That's ashram duties.
You're gonna get me 6 ways to Sunday. You win.
Now look, I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to win. I want Prabhupada and Krishna to win. I'm not trying to win. I can lose. I don't mind. I live to be corrected. I'm not trying to win. Doing your dishes at home is ashram duties. Of course, you might have a servant who comes in and does your dishes for you. Many people in the world have servants who do their dishes for you. You might have a dishwasher who is your mechanical servant who does your dishes for you. But that's ashram duties. Varna duty is what you do during your working time to earn a living. It's different from your ashram duties. It's different from recreation. Krishna distinguishes between work and recreation. And it's different from your Sanatan Dharma duties. We have Varna duties, ashram duties, and bhakti duties. Bhakti should pervade our Varna duties and our ashram duties. But that's different. You know, again, you could hire a servant to do your dishes. You could have a mechanical dishwasher to do your dishes. Sarvadharma and Parichaya doesn't mean everybody does everything crazy like crazy people. It means you don't identify with your dharma in this world. You don't think, I am a businessman, I am a farmer, I am a husband, I am a dishwasher. Jivera Swapaya Krishna Nichadas. I'm a servant of Krishna. I have an ultimate service in the eternal world, and I have some temporary service in this world, according to the body and mind that I have.
So I got to do the dishes.
That's between you and your wife, but you got to work that out with her. Do you have kids?
He won't do the dishes either. He's 35. It's not in his ashram.
I see. Does he live with you at 35?
On and off. He comes swooping through, and he leaves dishes in the sink.
Well, you can always refuse to feed him unless he washes his own dishes.
He just invades the refrigerator. He's a dacoit. He just takes from the refrigerator and disappears the next day.
We could talk about your parenting skills a little, maybe at another time. But like my granddaughter.
I'm a Vanaprath. I'm in the forest when this happens.
I see. So my granddaughter, when I'm here in North Carolina, my granddaughter cooks dinner for me most days. I usually come eat with her family. And I always ask, do you want me to wash my own dishes, or are you going to put them in the dishwasher? So sometimes she puts them in the dishwasher, and sometimes I wash my own dishes when I eat there. So, that's, yeah, I don't consider that I'm not above helping, washing my own dishes. And sometimes, she has some emergency, something, and I'll watch her kids and I'll wash all the dishes. Yeah, I'm not going to say, well, I'm a vanaprastha. I'm not going to ever watch my great grandsons and wash the dishes. Come on, let's be decent human beings here. Is that all right?
Thank you, Urmila Devi, for clarifying so many this complex concept of Varnashama Dharma. Thank you very much.